Hey guys, Curtis here from Patina. This is our weekly bounty haul from the past week, and we've got 4 watches here that we want to review with you guys really quickly and just kind of introduce some of the reasons that we're picking up these types of watches, what we're seeing move in the market, and hopefully this helps in terms of whether you're looking at a piece from us or another piece on the market. So the first piece I want to dive into is a 14060. For those that know, and that's a lot of our followers, it's a no-date sub. I have such a hard time finding this type of reference. It seems like for every 14060 I find, or no-date sub, I tend to find maybe 4 or 5 16800s or 16610s. But the reason we gravitate towards this watch is not simply purely because of it being dateless. This era of neo-vintage watches still have a lot of character. There's a lot of watches that have faded bezels or a deeper patina on the dial, and you're not paying a huge premium for these variances. So for in that $6,900 to $11,000 price range, you could definitely find something that's very, very unique in terms of a vintage neo vintage piece. I think these are excellent buys, and simply finding one with a tritium dial is what you're going to ideally search for. The later 14060 models are switched over to Luminova, so you're not going to get the same type of patina that you normally would. On this specific no-date sub, the bezel is faded into kind of a midnight black, midnight bluish hue, which is kind of unique. And the dial is faded into a kind of a custardy lume or custardy type of patina on the lume itself. Case is super nice. It's nice and thick and even throughout. It's been polished maybe once or twice, but an excellent piece to separate yourselves from the rest of the subs out there. The next 2 pieces are both subs, and I'm going to introduce them both at the same time. On my left hand, this lime green moss Kermit, or 16610 LV, is Box and Papers. It's from 2007. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the difference between the 2007 and 2008, because I think those are the biggest variations in terms of these types of Kermits. Both of these sport, I think, a B4 bezel. You can tell it's a B3 or B4 by the way that the inner curves are on the 5 on the bezel. So I think on the B3, those curves on the inside of that hook of the 5, they're a little bit smoother on the edges. And on the B4, they're much sharper. They're almost 90-degree right angles on the bezel. But both of these come Box and Papers. This one on the left of my hand here has no engraving on the inside of the case. So I believe 2007, as they were transitioning to this new engraved Rehot model, where the serial is actually based on the 6 o'clock position, and you have the Rolex branding across the inside the case. The 2007s are naked, and you'll find the serial on the 6 o'clock position, but on the inside of the lugs. So you have to remove the bracelet to find that. Both pieces are in excellent condition. These are just really, really fun watches, and I think for us, it is as late of or modern of a Rolex as we want to get into. And the reason why we still focus on these types of watches, even though they're not really in our neo-vintage and vintage catalog, is simply because of the variations that you're getting in between each watch. The colors of the bezel, the types of dials, there's a lot of different variations. So to us, it almost feels vintage simply because of the variations that you're getting from each watch. Both Box and Papers, very, very cool pieces. If you guys have questions, feel free to drop us a line on DM for both of them. The last watch in our collection here that we want to review is a very, very cool piece. It is a 1675 gilt GMT, and the bonus of this is that it has a fuchsia bezel on the watch. So if you look at the dial of this gilt 1675, what you're going to find is a very glossy gilt dial where the lacquer is still in amazing condition. There's no crazing or cracking on the gloss of it, which is what you'll typically find in older, neglected 1675 gilt GMTs. But you're also going to see, if you look really closely, and maybe this is more apparent under the sun, but it's starting to turn tropical right around from the 2 o'clock to the 10 o'clock position. So it's almost like the southern hemisphere. It's starting to turn a little bit more brown. You're getting those deeper orangish tones appearing on the dial. The lume is a nice creamy yellow lume on the plots, and all the lume seem to be present. Bezel is a fuchsia bezel, and the case has been refinished by Los Angeles Watchworks out in Pasadena. Those guys do amazing work along with a few others. But this piece is available on the site, and it is from 1965. So that's the haul this week. Lots of pieces are moving, so if you do have questions, please ask us, and we'll do our best to get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks, guys. Be safe, and we'll see you guys next week.